$0 in the bank, no savings to invest, no rich relative to borrow from, and somehow, this is the exact starting point that turned into $1,000. Not through a get-rich-quick scheme, not through luck, but through one specific side hustle that barely anyone actually talks about. Because it's not flashy, it's not exciting content, and honestly, it takes a bit more patience than most videos are willing to admit. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what this hustle is, why it works so well specifically when you're starting from absolute zero, the realistic timeline from $0 to $1,000, and the exact steps to start it yourself today, without spending anything up front. Let's start with why this specific hustle gets so little attention, because that reason is actually the whole point. Most viral side hustle content pushes things that sound exciting: flipping products, trading, dropshipping with paid ads. These get views because they sound impressive. But almost all of them require one thing most people starting from zero simply don't have: upfront capital. You can't buy inventory to flip with no money. You can't run paid ads with no ad budget. This creates a strange gap where most make money from nothing. Content secretly assumes you already have something. The hustle I'm talking about today requires none of that. It's service arbitrage specifically, becoming the middle person between someone who needs a specific task done and someone who can actually do that task, while you manage the relationship, quality, and delivery in between. It sounds complicated when described like that, so let's make it concrete with exactly how it works in practice. Here's the model, step by step. Step 1. Pick one narrow, in-demand service. Not marketing, broadly something specific, like Instagram Reels editing for real estate agents or basic logo design for local restaurants. The narrower and more specific the service, the easier it is to find both clients and people who can actually deliver the work. Step 2. Find where people who can deliver this service are already offering their work cheaply. This might be newer freelancers on platforms who are still building their reputation and pricing lower than experienced ones. Or it could be genuinely skilled people in regions where the same quality of work commands lower rates. This isn't about exploiting anyone, it's about identifying real value that hasn't found its ideal buyer yet. Step 3. Find clients willing to pay a fair market rate price for that same service. Then connect the two, taking a margin for managing the relationship, communication, quality control, and reliability. You're not doing the actual service work yourself necessarily, you're providing the connection, trust, and project management that makes the transaction smooth for the client, who often doesn't want to deal with the hassle of finding and vetting freelancers themselves. Now, here's the real timeline, month by month, because I want to be completely honest about the pace of this, not oversell it. Weeks 1 and 2. Research and setup, $0 earned. This phase is entirely about identifying your one specific service niche, finding 2 or 3 reliable people who can deliver quality work at a reasonable rate, and setting up simple systems: a basic contract template, a way to receive payment, a simple process for briefing the work to your delivery person. No income yet, and that's expected. This groundwork is what prevents problems later. Weeks 3 and 4. First client, small revenue. This stage is about outreach: direct messages to small businesses, local shops, or service providers who clearly need this specific service, but haven't gotten around to it. Expect a low response rate here. Similar to any cold outreach, maybe 1 yes out of every 10 to 15 messages sent. The first client is usually priced modestly, both because you're building trust and because you want your delivery person to prove reliable before you scale up commitments. Realistic first month total, somewhere between $50 and $150. Month 2. The compounding starts. With one successful delivery behind you, 2 things happen. First, you have a genuine case study, a real result you can show future prospects. Second, your delivery person now has one completed project with you, meaning less oversight is needed going forward. Referrals often start here too, since a happy small business client frequently knows other small business owners with the same need. Realistic month 2 total, $200 to $400. Month 3. Systemizing **** by this point, you're not manually managing every single detail. You've built a simple, repeatable process. Client request comes in, you brief your delivery person using a template, quality gets checked, delivered, invoiced. This is also typically when you either raise your margin slightly or bring on a second reliable delivery person to handle more volume simultaneously. This is the month where most people crossing this path report hitting that first $1,000 milestone, combining month three's earnings with what was already accumulated in months 1 and 2. So the honest total timeline, roughly 8 to 12 weeks from a completely empty starting point to $1,000 in cumulative earnings, assuming consistent effort, meaning genuine daily outreach in the early weeks, not sporadic attempts once a week. Let's talk about why this specific model works better for true zero capital starters than almost anything else being pushed right now. First, there's no inventory risk. You're never sitting on unsold products. Second, there's no advertising spend. Growth comes from direct outreach and referrals, not paid traffic. Third, and this is the part people underestimate, it teaches genuinely transferable business skills: sales, client communication, quality management, basic operations that apply to literally any future business you might build afterward. Compare that to something like reselling trending products, which teaches you almost nothing transferable once that specific trend fades. Now, let's cover the honest downsides too, because I'm not going to pretend this is perfect. It requires real communication skills, or a genuine willingness to develop them quickly. You're managing two relationships simultaneously, the client and the delivery person, and both need clear, professional communication. It also requires patience through weeks 1 and 2, where there's genuinely no income yet, which is exactly the phase where most people give up, assuming it's not working, when really, it's just the necessary setup phase every version of this model requires. And there's real relationship risk if your delivery person doesn't perform reliably. Your reputation with the client takes the hit, not theirs, since you're the one they trust directly. A few practical tips that make this go smoother, based on common mistakes people make trying this. Always get payment from the client before paying your delivery person, protecting your own cash flow and reducing risk. Start with service categories where quality is relatively easy for you to judge yourself. Even without being an expert, this makes quality control genuinely manageable in the early stages. And be transparent with your delivery person about the actual arrangement. Sustainable, reliable partnerships outperform one-off exploitative arrangements every single time, especially once you're trying to scale beyond just 1 or 2 clients. So if you're starting from genuinely $0 today, here's the exact first move. Pick one narrow service category based on something you already understand reasonably well, even if you can't personally do the work yourself expertly. Spend this week finding 2 reliable people who can deliver that service at a fair rate, and send your first 5 outreach messages to potential clients before this week ends, not eventually, this week. Comment the service category you're thinking about starting with, and I'll reply with specific guidance on where to find reliable people for exactly that niche. If this gave you a realistic, honest path forward, subscribe. I'm covering one real, replicable side hustle like this every week. No hype, no unrealistic promises, just what actually works when you're starting with nothing. See you in the next one.